Oh, my loves. So let's see how this goes for the masculines. I'm going to do that counterpart message to yet the recent divine feminine message. And a few things came in right away. There was a totally different energy that came in as soon as I started giving the focus and attention to the masculine energy connected to the feminine collective that I spoke to in the first message. And immediately, like my eyes felt foggy, my head started to hurt, a little bit of anxiety kicked up. And it went from this very grounded, stable, like intuitive knowing with the feminine energies to this like uncertain, a little bit like attempting to reorient. And what I feel like as I speak this, just bear with me because I'm tuning into and like feeling the energy is like where you're going along and you know the world in a certain way. And then all of a sudden, your higher vision gets turned on. And I'm literally seeing it like a telepathic energy, like the third eye turns on. And all of a sudden, you start getting access to all of this new information. And what it feels like for these masculines connected to this is interesting, where the feminine is dropping into the physical world. Now the masculines are getting access more clearly and directly to the higher information that the feminine has been tuning into all along. And the feminine is dropping into the physical and orienting to the world, not in the same way that the masculine did, right? Because the feminines are carrying the codes, holding the codes for the new energy, the new templates, but it's actually helping to rewrite what the masculines were embedded in, what we were all embedded in. So as the feminines have been on their journey of that embodiment and now ready to land into the roots and like infusing the new templates, the masculines again are like being freed out of that energy that they were stuck in the sticky energies. And it's simultaneously like lifting the clouds, lifting the stickiness, and like turning back on their higher sight. And what I'm seeing is as the higher sight is coming back on, there's just a lot to catch up with and a lot to process. So I'm being shown it's similar to how the feminines in the dark night of the soul had so much past emotion to process, to catch up, right? To catch up to where they are. And sometimes it was collective energies and ancestral energies. Sometimes you were processing emotions that you didn't even necessarily know what they were. In the masculines, you're going through a similar process, but on the other end, where the higher abilities, which I feel these masculines have had glimpses of this. You've had glimpses of this before. Feminines here watching, you may even know that your masculine has these higher abilities. You've seen glimpses of it. Most likely, they probably shut it down because it was a lot or scary. But now this is opening because there's a stability within it, although their nervous system is now processing and catching up. And it feels like they're showing me an old movie from the 80s called Short Circuit. And there was like a little robot who could connect in with like a book and read it in like 2 seconds and like catch up. And they're showing me that sort of like for the masculines. It's like a super sped up course, and it's coming through like they're getting caught up to where we're orienting now, and it's like a speed course but it's obviously also something for us all to be aware of that um, this could be intense. Let's put it that way. I also feel like when I'm saying that it's intense, it's a bit disorienting, at times overwhelming, disconcerting, uncertain. But those were also very similar feelings that many feminines felt during their dark night of the soul. So, um, it's different, but there's similarities. So interestingly, in that message I did for the feminines, I pulled from the shaman dream, which is more my masculine deck. And for the masculine, I'm guided to go into the priestess of light. Okay, just to hit it home, precognition, psychic ability, future vision. Yes, the masculine's capacity for seership, their higher abilities, their higher sight is coming online quite quickly and quite intensely. So, for those of you here that are masculines, I would love to hear if you're experiencing anything like this, maybe like a really ramping up of your higher intuitive abilities, those sixth senses type of things. Maybe even dream time is ramping up. Maybe you're finding that you're getting visions of what could happen and then it actually is playing out more clearly. Um, and there's also potentially feminines here who are aware that maybe you're processing in different ways than you used to, like I spoke about. So you may find that you're processing in dream time, but those dreams may feel more physical, very physically oriented, maybe some more earthly grounded topics or conversations in your dreams. So this isn't that the feminines are losing their abilities, so the masculine accesses them. It's sort of just like a flip-flop of the extremes so that you're both orienting to your next phases, your next levels, your next capabilities. It's like you're passing the baton to one another, but the feminines are upgrading the physical, and actually the masculines coming into the higher realms is actually also upgrading the higher energies. So as I'm saying this, what I'm seeing is the feminines in the lower chakras is opening more information for the masculines in the lower chakras. The masculines embodying and rising into the higher chakras is also opening more for the feminines in the higher chakras. So this is a very beautiful rebalancing. And I think it was last week on one of my member videos that it came through that you may be feeling more and more of the telepathic energies ramping up. And with the masculines coming online, what I'm sensing is like you might feel it for a moment, then it might go quiet, it might flicker in and out. You might have this curiosity around what is going on. If this is happening to you, you can always just ask what is meant for you to be aware of. Is there something for you to do, or is it just time for you to observe? I'm going to get some tarot for this because it feels for the masculines. Let's bring in some support messages for the masculines. Any of you here experiencing this, whether it's directly to you or you're aware of it because of your telepathic abilities with one another. Let's see where this is going. I'm just, yes. Okay. So this feels like where those higher energies are opening, but they're coming into physical form. So you see, this is like the low hanging fruit. This is where what I'm seeing as the vision is as the feminine's embodied into the earth, they pulled down the higher information with them, stabilizing it. And then the masculine is just like, there's they're not needing to fully destabilize their foundation to grab the fruit, to grab the information. Wow. Okay. I haven't seen this in this particular way before, but this makes so much sense that we would do this way because this allows the masculines to reorient, reorganize, make the changes that they need to change, but without necessarily destabilizing their whole physical world foundation. And this feels not only important for the masculine, what I'm seeing is where the masculine sort of like breaks out of the rigid foundation, but still has stability. And because they are still stable, they can actually receive this higher information more swiftly. And this is where in the past, the feminine and masculine were working together. The masculine stayed deep in the physical world, the feminines rose up and like cleared a lot of the information and the trauma in the past timelines. They were always working together because they were mirroring to one another. The masculine was showing the feminine where to clear, right? Through the shadows. Whatever shadows were being mirrored, that was showing the feminines where to work. And as the feminines worked from the top down, now it's like, okay, we're safe, we're stable, we're solid. And now the old foundation can break up because the new foundation is actually available. And as the old breaks up, what I'm seeing, because look at as it does break up, this card was already picked. I was going into the message without even thinking about the tower. This is like where this higher energy is coming in. The masculines are connected to the earth, and so as they receive this, it lets the rigidity break up, it lets the higher wisdom come down, and now you actually have the masculine and the feminine both embodied into the new foundation. And this is how it can part one of the ways that it can happen faster for the masculine, because in truth, the masculine was doing their job all along, holding the stability point while the feminine was exploring all of those other higher realms and information and energy. Now, a lot of the feminines are probably navigating all of that, right? The higher realms and now dropping into the earth more embodied. Boom. It's allowing that to pull in closer to the masculine. It's not such a far stretch because the feminine is embodying into the roots. Boom, opening up. The higher information is coming to the masculine. Of course, there's some point of integration. Okay. But you see, again, this opening, the clearing of the old rigid foundation, the embodiment into the new natural, the new foundation is just our natural nature. The true energy is that's opening, this integration into the physical happens. And this, my loves, is like that material world embodiment between the masculine and feminine. And this is connecting back with the feminine message. You see the hands. It's like the co-creation with the universe in that conscious creatorship is going to begin when it aligns to happen not only between source and the earth and the feminine, but between the masculine and feminine in physical form. Okay, I feel like more does want to come with this. Where are we going? What wants to come? Actually, a shaman dream. Thank you. We got one. The orange is standing out to me right now. The sacral. Will o' the wisp, treasures hidden in the shadows. So it's kind of connecting back with those most recent videos and just doing a bit more of the shadow cleanup, noticing any places or spaces where you may have even been afraid of your own power, your own potential, your own capability, because potentially you just didn't remember how to work it, how to navigate the reins. And one of my most recent member videos, we connected in with the horse energy in the white horse specifically quite strong. And what I'm feeling for the masculines is it's okay to harness the white horse energy. And it's not about perfection. It's not about everything being perfect and you always being pure. It's about that intention in your intention to do your best. And part of that is the authenticity of knowing that through our growth processes, it's more about progress instead of perfection. And what's really important is what are you learning from your experiences, from the things you consider mistakes, or um, actually loving all the parts of you, all of the shadow parts, and where can you take those things that you still want to be a part of your life, but maybe have turned in the past into addictions? Where can you reharmonize and temper those into an appropriate part of your life in a way that's actually supportive for your process, for your life, versus something that is controlling you. So, an example could be if someone's a workaholic, but obviously they can't quit working forever, right? So, you want to figure out a healthy relationship to your work, to your um day-to-day life, so that work is an appropriate part of your life in one of your priorities, but not your only priority that overrides everything else, right? So it's the same thing with your gifts. It's the same thing with your abilities. And what I'm seeing is where, in a lot of cases, old addictions or distractions were just that. They were distractions away from your actual true gifts and capabilities. So, as you open up and learn how to work with your own gifts, those things that you were addicted to or that were distracting you become less satisfying because you realize the power was within you the entire time. Okay. So, it feels like the masculines that are connected with the feminines who are very stabilized in their new foundation or in that process or will be in the future, you can just have this awareness that that is part of what lets the masculines go to their next level as well. But again, this is not a process that can be rushed. You just can't really skip steps along this journey. That's what I've learned. It's really about working with whatever is in front of you, embodying into what you're being guided to focus on, learning the lessons, and also incorporating in fun and joy and playfulness and happiness and living your life in a new way, right? In the world, in the new ways that you have been wanting. So, as the feminines are integrating and embodying this, it gives that perspective to the masculines that, oh, it's okay to open up to all of this. We can actually handle it now. We can sustain it. We can maintain it. I don't have to hold so hard and rigid in the stability so that the feminines can figure that part out. We've figured it out. I'm freed from being so rigid. I can stay stable and open up to learning how to harness all of my higher sight. And this is a big part of what is thawing out for the masculines. All right, my loves. And this does go into that ageless code series that I'm doing because we've been actually thawing out more of the magic and past aspects in the roots that were maybe forgotten or frozen long ago. So, reaccessing more and more of our natural nature. So, no matter how you identify, no matter where you are, you can always set the intention to restore more and more of your gifts, not only your higher sight and the higher gifts, but the gifts down in the root chakra, in the roots, in your connection to the earth, where your earth energies and your earth magic lives. All right, my loves, I will leave that there. You have a beautiful rest of your day and take care. Much love. Peace.